Hello, Steve. Hello, Jill. It's time to game classy.
Shine when she's away.
All right, now we're recording.
And gone when she's gone, and she's gone too long, and I can't go away.
I know. I
Yeah, like that.
I had to catch my breath.
Nice.
Yeah, I missed
Hello.
the whole first part. I wasn't recording at that point.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I missed your whole intro.
Oh, well, that was just a little song, you know.
Just a little taste.
Yeah, just a little taster.
I am hungover this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom had a retirement party yesterday.
Oh.
So I got to drink a lot of shitty, cheap domestic beer. And that's always the worst for hangovers. So
I could see that.
Yeah.
Low quality action.
A lot of Miller Lite, some Coors. I call that the Pat B of beers right there. Yeah. You know, it's like Pat, you make a decent amount of money, you could have any good beer you want in the world. He's like, I'll have a PBR. God damn it.
People love PBR, man.
I guess it's not my bag.
It's probably like the at least 15 people who genuinely like Malort.
The Malort thing, I will say it again on this podcast every time it has to be brought up. Malort is not a Chicago thing. Yes, it was all in from like the 50s to the 70s. Sure, it's like the most diviest bars in Chicago would have it. No one drank it. It went away, and then a company bought it, and it wasn't in Chicago, and they made a whole really successful online meme marketing campaign, which made it popular again.
I mean, memes aside, there's still probably, like I said, like 30 people who genuinely are interested.
No, it's more now. Like it's I can't describe it, but it's like when something is when people are told by the media that this is something that's bad, they will like it just to say they like it, and then it's like psychologically they do like it. So it's just like maybe it's a contrarian thing.
Maybe, or I mean, it tastes like what's it? It has a flavor. It tastes like something.
Well, it's like grapefruit, actually, is what it tastes like.
That grapefruit's pretty. That's a pretty accurate thing, I'd say.
It tastes like a very, very, very bitter, strong, kind of astringent grapefruit.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
Yeah, that's about the best I could say for it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's probably like some person who actually just genuinely like, oh, this is a good flavor. So
no, I mean there are plenty of people who are like that now. I call them psychopaths.
Oh, it's like I love black licorice. So like I always thought Jägermeister was better than most people because I like that, you know, anise black licorice flavor a lot. So
yeah, you can go hang out with the Scandinavians because they're the only people who really like that. Oh yes, we're going to eat our
not true. Australia is huge on the licorice.
No, they're not.
If they are, Kookaburra is a massive brand of licorice that's from Australia.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's actually good. We have a massive brands of black licorice here in America, and no one eats it.
I actually love Kookaburra. It's super good. It's really good. The thing that makes Kookaburra really good is they don't go crazy on the size. So their biggest difference between Kookaburra licorice and American style licorice is they're like little tiny like chunks of licorice instead of huge long strips. So it's a little bit of a taster rather than a super strong flavor.
Listen, man, if I get a little tiny turd or a giant long turd, they're both turds. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I love the way licorice tastes, so I don't consider either a turd. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's like Ooter from
you could say we're eating Ooter right now.
No, it's like with he's like, would you like a lick of my licorice? And he's, now mit iodine.
Now mit.
Oh, black licorice is a scourge on this on humanity.
I don't think it's that serious.
It's a scourge. The scourge. My new thing now is that whenever someone posts something like that, like black licorice is great, it's the Simpsons post with Homer and the guy when Homer says I can tell the difference between butter and I can't believe it's not butter, and the guy just like, no you can't.
No you can't. No one can.
That's me. Like the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte, just came out, and my buddy's like, all the Star Wars shows have been great lately, and I go, no they haven't. just throwing it out there like a hand grenade.
I approve.
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna pull the pin on this and throw it out there because damn the consequences of it. I'm not allowing this terrible opinion to stand.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest difference between what most of the people I know who like Star Trek and people who like Star Wars. The biggest difference I've seen is that people who like Star Trek are far more willing to shit on Star Trek faster. People who like Star Wars.
And yeah, and I kind of actually find it that the people who shit on Star Trek, like they shit on it for.
Well, you have to that. I mean, that's the problem with everything now. I think I know where you're going, but that's the problem with Star Wars and Star Trek now. You have to be careful. Or I mean, actually, you know what? I'll take it back. Literally everything. You have to understand why the person is shitting on stuff now. They can't because it can't be simple. It can't just be someone shitting on stuff because they don't like the thing anymore. It's now they got to be shitting on it because of a bajillion X factors that do not have anything to do with the thing. Like. It's like, oh yeah, that dude hates it. Is it bad? No, they casted some Asian lady instead of a white guy for some character, and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like, I think Star Trek fans are more like, I don't know.
Dude, there was so much racist backlash for Discovery. It was crazy. There's a massive amount, like a crazy amount. I couldn't believe how much there was. Like, yeah. I was shocked, honestly.
It's hard because like I don't want to seem as a racist, but I fucking hate Michael Burnham as a character.
Discovery's awful.
Hate her character with an outright passion, like a flaming passion. I hate that character so much. But the thing is I like almost everything else about Discovery. Like I really like Saru. I think Saru is a fantastic character.
Yeah, Saru's cool. That's it. I mean, I think all of the actors are doing an extremely well job. Like Burnham's actress is good. Her character just sucks.
It really does. Yeah, I mean, like, there was a lot of storylines I did not like in Discovery. I'm only through season 2, and I'm kind of like, these storylines are ass.
I will say it does get better.
I mean,
it does. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it gets good because I don't think it gets good, minus the Pike stuff. But like, that's just good because it's Pike. Like,
because it's Pike, and Pike is actually a good character.
Right. Exactly. Like. Yeah. So minus that stuff, like, it does get better. So there's that.
Yeah. Like I'm off of work now, and I didn't have anything really to do the last 2 days of that I was in the building. And so I was sitting there, I was watching Star Trek movies on my computer. And nice. I was watching Star Trek 2. I was watching Wrath of Khan, and then I watched A Search for Spock, because I was like, I'll watch them. I was gonna watch 4, but then I was like, nah, I'm gonna watch First Contact.
Kramer says Search for Spock is the superior film. I just love that random bit in Seinfeld where like Kramer's like going off about Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock.
Yeah, it's a superior film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, Jerry will tell you Wrath of Khan is better, but no.
But the thing is like Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock has many flaws, right? Like there's huge just like leaps of logic that are done in that movie for that could easily be explained in simple dialogue changes, but they just don't do it for some odd reason.
Right.
But it's such a simple plot, and it's so well done. It's such a nice little character piece for everybody. Everybody's got their own little like bits and everything else going on in there. And it's just then I watch Discovery and everyone's running around and like, oh, well, what if we do this? And what if we do this?
A lot of yelling. Everyone's
Yeah, a lot
mad.
of yelling.
What's that? I mean, that's so. I think. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. Like, I really think Discovery was a focus grouped Star Trek, where they made a Star Trek show and they did not care about the current fans or the vibe of Star Trek. They just tried to make to me anyway, it seems like Discovery is very blatantly like, we're making a show to appeal to like a generic audience. We don't care that it's Star Trek. We don't care about Star Trek fans. We're just trying to make the most generic like streaming show possible to just appeal to people in general.
I mean, I would say
that's how it felt to me for Discovery anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just I don't know. It's like I just like it when it's professionals being professional. You know, like that's always the thing that I like most about Star Trek. It's like that people doing their job well genre, which is like my favorite because I like watching people like experts do their job correctly.
Yeah, you're watching, the idea is you're watching pros.
Yeah, you're watching pros. And that's kind of like when I'm watching the Star Trek movies. It's like, yeah, Kirk and everyone make mistakes. Like,
there's a difference between making a mistake and being an idiot.
Yeah, but it's like everyone does their job super well. Like, they steal the fucking Enterprise from space dock, right?
Right. I mean, the idea is that like the Enterprise crew, or the idea or the conceit of each Star Trek series is you're following like possibly the best active crew at the time. Like,
for that situation, yeah.
Yes, that's the idea. Like whatever, like you are following like the experts. So like when there's like a geological disaster, you're going to be seeing the story of all of the best geologists in Starfleet. Like that's the idea.
Oh yeah, it's like and that's the part that I kind of like about DS9 as well. Is that even though they're like, this is a bad posting for everyone at DS9, right?
Yes, a lot of chafing.
like you think about it, like Sisko isn't even a captain. Like,
right.
He just lost his wife at the Battle of Wolf 359. I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah, Wolf
359.
Wolf 359 is correct. Yeah, no, but I mean, like clearly Sisko was just dumped on DS9 to be like I don't want this guy to be my problem.
It's a desk job. They couldn't give him a ship. They needed him to stay in one place, and they didn't want to like summarily dismiss him.
Yeah,
so
they're like, him there.
yeah. It's a backwater posting, right? It's supposed to be like, this is an easy job. Just don't fuck up things between the Cardassians.
Yeah, just sit here, drink your Ractagino, and shut up. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just and try and get the Bajorans into the Federation. Basically, is what they're saying.
Yeah,
and then it's like, you got Bashir. He's a brand new doctor. He's just out of med school. Yeah, this is going to be his first posting. You got Jadzia, who is probably overqualified to be there, but the
massively overqualified.
Yeah, but the Federation doesn't know what the fuck to do with a Trill.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and there's constant weirdness with the Trill in the Federation because they're like, how do we treat these people?
Yeah, I mean, it's not how do we treat them. It's like, okay, this person is obviously like super overqualified for anything, but it's like, well,
right, that's what I mean. Like, what do we do?
Hierarchy. And then you got the only person who knows what the fuck they're doing, Miles O'Brien, who's really in charge of DS9.
That is true.
Yeah, he's the guy that's actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is fixing DS9.
Yes.
So it's like, but even still, they're able to, in those situations, make the best of it, even though I do question a lot of Sisko's choices throughout those first few seasons of that series, where it's like, you should not be doing this. This is way outside the scope of your command.
Yes.
But anyway, all right, that's enough Trek talk. I'm done with it for right now. Like, oh. And you know what? Wait, one more thing I wanted to point out. The amount of cameos that are in fucking First Contact is insane.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that the Doctor's in there, but the Doctor and Neelix both make appearances in there.
Yeah.
Not to mention Adam Scott when is on the bridge of the Defiant when it's getting blown up by the Borg cube, and the guy who plays Donna's dad on that '70s show plays the gangster with the silver nose and the thick nose.
Red Foreman.
No, not Red Foreman. It's the neighbor.
Oh, the other guy, right?
Bob
Right.
Pinciotti.
Yeah, Italian guy.
Yeah, it's but I was just like, damn, there's a lot of cameos in this movie, and on rewatch, it's definitely not a great Trek movie.
500 cigarettes.
500 cigarettes. Yeah, I was a little shocked watching the movie. I was like, damn, everyone is acting like they've never worked in Starfleet before in this movie. Like, why the fuck is everyone ignoring the temporal prime directive and talking to Zephram Cochrane? Like, this is awful.
It's a movie so Worf could say assimilate this. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong.
Okay, you are correct on that one. Fucking Worf. Like Picard is literally running around going like, some of these people are Starfleet officers. You might know them. Don't hesitate to kill the fuck out of them. And I'm like, what? And she's like, and Picard's like, you can't save them. I'm like, they saved you. You were a Borg once.
That movie still rules, though.
You took Hugh.
Can't save him, huh? Locutus.
Yeah, Locutus. You literally took Hugh and saved Hugh and introduced him back to the collective.
Yeah, you created you turned Hugh into a virus.
Yeah.
Like they forgot that like Hugh was like a living bioweapon they accidentally made.
You fucking psychopath.
That's funny.
Yeah. And where's Guinan?
That's true. Where is Guinan in that movie?
Yeah.
Do they like, because if I remember correctly, they don't even give her a throwaway line as to say where she is.
Yeah. I mean, they even put Barkley in the film, but they don't put Guinan in the film. I mean, Jesus H.
Maybe Guinan was still dealing with weird Malcolm McDowell space energy.
It's true. No, it's like I'm watching the movie. I'm like, this is a great movie. This is a terrible Star Trek movie.
Yes, that is a very apt description of First Contact.
Yeah, and it's like it's not like it's directed poorly. It's not like it's got bad. It's got a fantastic music score. It's got a great little story to it. But man, is it bad Trek?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All right, let's moving on. We've talked about Star Trek for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Let's talk about the news of the day, shall we?
Sure.
And you know what that news of the day is? I
don't actually. I don't know. You tell me.
What? We're going to talk about fucking Steamforge acquiring Warmaster acquiring Warmachine.
Oh, that. Okay. I mean, there's several things it could have been.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the big one.
That's true.
The one that most directly affects our podcast.
I mean, is it really? Is it a big one?
It is.
How many people does this affect?
Well, no one, because of how Warmachine and Hordes was fucking driven into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see. So yeah, Steamforge, out of all the companies out there, I actually do think that Warmachine Hordes is the best fit for Steamforge. I'm not even kidding.
So, and this is I agree with you. And this is why Steamforge will always be kind of on the plus with me, like where I'm like, I like them as a company, is because they voluntarily retired Guild Ball. Mm-hmm. Like, where they were like, okay, the game's done. And I was like, wait, what? And it's not like they were like, we're canceling the game. It's just like, because the game is still popular. Mm-hmm. It's just that they were like, hey, we've done everything that we can with Guild Ball. We're done with it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's gone. And I was like, that's fucking amazing. I think that's fantastic. And
we've completed our game.
Yeah. And I know it's not like a super popular game, but God Tier is a good game from what I hear.
Oh yeah, everyone who plays that game loves it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that's like it's very fringe, but yeah, everyone who plays it says it's great.
From what I've been told, it scratches the itch of like what Underworlds does. It's kind of like Underworlds, but it's done in a way that it's sustainable.
Okay.
I guess is a good way of putting it. I'm not 100% sure on that. This is only going off of me talking to other people about it. I have yet to pick up God Tier or even play it, so I don't really know too much.
I mean, it looks awesome. Like the factions are cool. I like that the warbands are. They look like they have a lot of good variety in the warbands.
Yeah.
Because they have they have one that's like one big guy and like two little guys, and they have ones that's kind of more of like a mob of goons.
Which is why I think this is a good fit for Warmachine to go over to Steamforge. It like fits directly
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
their purview. So let's give a brief rundown on what's going on right now. So just this week, Steamforge announced that they had acquired all of the Iron Kingdom shit. So what does that mean? That means Warmachine, Hordes, Iron Kingdoms, P3 paints, which is weird. Well, that's kind of weird to talk about. Riot Quest, Warcaster. Let's see, they got a list here. Mini Crate.
Everything that's
Iron,
every single thing that was Warmachine or Hordes or a spinoff is now owned by Steamforged.
I like
they
how
do not own Monster Apocalypse from what it looked like.
Oh no, they don't. It's not on the list.
Yeah, because they didn't. Because it specifically says they got Iron Kingdoms and so on and so forth. So like, it can't be everything. Because that would it would just say that they acquired Privateer Press if that was the case, which they did not.
They did not. Which that's definitely interesting. I'm wondering if it's because Monster Apocalypse actually licensed shit.
Yeah,
so it might be a little bit more of a cash cow. Maybe.
I am not sure.
Yeah. So to give a little bit of a history, Privateer Press was founded in 2000. It was right around the time that I would say Warhammer was getting a lot more commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would maybe about that. It was founded by Matt Wilson. I think that's the guy's name who founds it, right? Matt.
Yes, that sounds correct.
No, Matt Hart. Matt Hart is the founder.
Was it Hart? Oh, I mean, I don't know. I know Matt's definitely the name. I don't remember the last name though.
Yeah. It says right here it's from Matt Hart, CCO and founder.
Okay.
Yeah, that so Matt Hart, but I do know that Matt Wilson worked on it. Matt Wilson was one of the guys who worked on Alderac Entertainment. So if you remember Alderac back in the day.
Yeah, AG still kind of exists. They make sort of. They were making Smash Up for a while.
Yeah. And I will love Alderac because they did all of the stuff from the 90s that's like my nostalgia gaming stuff when I look at it, like 7C.
I say Legend of the Five Rings.
Like all of that stuff, which was when you'd walk into a game store in the 90s and you'd see walls of blisters of shit, and you're just like, I don't even know where to start. Like that's like that's my nostalgia button. It like releases the dopamine.
For me, that's actually it's kind of funny. This loops. It's really amusing that you brought up Alderac because this loops into one of the biggest new Kickstarters that was just a big success, which was the Warlord Saga of the Storm TCG Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Warlord? So Warlord was an AEG card game, and the rules were awesome. It's one of my favorite card games ever made. Like it's dope as hell. I highly recommend it to everyone and anyone. It's super fun. If you know how to play D&D, you kind of already know how to play Warlord because the mechanics are mostly Dungeons and Dragons mechanics. So like when a dude attacks, you turn him sideways, you roll a d20, you add his attack modifier, and you try to hit an armor class of whatever you're attacking. Like it's legit. Like if you know how to play D&D, you've got a good handle on the rules already. Anyway, so Warlord of the Saga of the Storm was bought from AEG. The IP was purchased by a new company, King something. I don't know. They're a bunch of new guys, and they launched a very successful Kickstarter, fully funded in 5 minutes, and it's like $600,000 now. So yeah, I bought in on that actually. It was like the first Kickstarter I've bought in on.
I was gonna say you haven't bought in on a Kickstarter in a long time.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was gonna get hit by a Kickstarter, it's definitely a return of Warlord Saga of the Storm. Yeah, can't recommend it strongly enough. They're going to have a full late backer thing too. If you remember Warlord or if you want to get into Warlord, it looks fantastic. there's no like crazy, like you're getting a discount off of they actually have a full listing because it's a card game, like, and they're trying to launch it like as a card game. They have a listing of what like the MSRP is going to be and what your actual discount by buying the Kickstarter is. So it's not a massive savings. So like, I'm not telling, like, if you're interested but you don't have the extra cash right now, don't bother. Like the savings isn't going to matter. You can just pick it up when it's new.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you do want the extra savings and you got the extra cash right now, go for it. Like, getting something off MSRP is, always good.
Oh yeah, of course. Back to Warmachine. Warmachine was officially released back in 2003. That's when the initial release came out, and it was a 2-player minis game. But that wasn't unheard of at that time. There was a lot of 2-player minis games that were out in the 90s and early 2000s that were competing with Warhammer. It's hard for people to understand, but there was a point in history when Warhammer was not so dominant.
That's true. I mean, there were a lot of
competing games.
Yeah, a lot of competitors.
Yeah, and
the real shift for Warhammer, I swear, no, I am right about this. No one can say I'm wrong. I know I'm right about this. The real shift for Warhammer was the release of Dawn of War. Absolutely.
Oh, probably. So yeah, Warmachine came out. It won a bunch of awards when it came out, and then it had Mark 1, which was crazy. Like, you got little cards with your figures, and the cards had the rules, and then you'd little pips and everything that you would do with like your markers to make it was like, oh, you have these big cool fucking robots, and you can arm the robots with what you want, and you control them with these warcasters, and the game's super competitive. It was just really,
it had instant death and combos.
Yeah, combos and all these things that was like make it almost like video game like. It was this whole thing, and that went from, I think, let's see, Mark II came out in 2010, so almost 10 years, 2003 to 2010, 7 years. They did pretty well, had some really cool factions and everything like that. And then in 2010, it was like the perfect storm because they released Mark II, but also at that point, 40K sucked.
Yeah, GW was on like the biggest downturn they've ever had.
Yeah. So 40K sucked at that point. There was not a ton of mini competitors out at that time. There was some. I think probably the biggest at that time was maybe Weird had their shit out at that time. I'm not 100% sure. That might have been a little bit after. But yeah, at that time, they released Mark II, and Mark II was wild. Everyone loved Mark II. I would say that most people liked Mark II more than they liked Mark I.
Weird was around that time.
Yeah. But there was other stuff at that time too, but it was like the Warmachine was just like poised to become like the big dominant game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was massive. I remember that year's Adepticon, the Warmachine room was huge. I think the biggest thing that obviously the 40K team tournament was still bigger than it, but I think it was at like 40K singles numbers.
Oh yeah, I mean it was probably as big, if not bigger, than 40K that year.
Mm-hmm. Now singles, keep in mind that nothing has yet to eclipse the team tournament for
the team
40K.
tournament. Yeah, I mean, and Hordes was out at that time too, which was, I always was weirded out by the fact that they would have a game that was near identical in gameplay, but it was a separate game.
Yeah, quasi separate. It was a strange. I mean, I understand what it was basically like. It was because the focus and fury mechanic was different. Like really, like that was all it was. Because the games 100% were the same. The literal difference between the games was Warmachine used focus and Hordes used fury.
Yeah, and it's the same thing.
Well, no, because it's yes, you use it to do the same thing. It's just the generation is different. There was no reason to call it Hordes. They could have just called them. They could have just said these are Scorn. This is how they work. This is focus.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so they put out Mark II. Mark II goes really swimmingly well. They release all of their Forces of Warmachine books, which are like their codexes now. They finally go to codexes. They have like the books. They released the Colossals, which are super fucking cool in 2012. Yes.
Well, the Colossus are super cool and also break the game.
and they also break the game. The game gets too big under its own weight.
Yes, it just crushed itself.
It crushes itself. So, Mark III gets released in 2016. It's completely bungled. And I've never seen a game fall so fast.
And so hard.
It's so hard. I mean, they legit crashed their game in 2016 with that release. And I don't know, like, it was a mix-up with the rules were bad, armies were unplayable, cards had rules on them that weren't checked.
Yeah, I remember the Scorn, the entirety of the Scorn was wrong. Like, their entire suite of cards was wrong. They were like, yeah, sorry, and they released updated digital versions. So like every single physical card they released for the Scorn was worthless. It was a massive disaster.
I mean, and it's funny that we talk about this because I can remember us on this podcast all the way back in 2013 talking about the Convergence of Cyrus, like the new army that was being released.
Yes, yeah, the Convergence, they were super cool.
Yeah, I remember talking about them on this cast, and then we talked about Warmachine for a while, and then we just stopped talking about it because when Mark III got released, I remember us talking about it like, oh yeah, this is completely botched, and then like it just disappears as a game.
I mean, everyone quit playing instantly. Like, it wasn't even because that's the thing too. Like I think I said it to you. Like, the majority of their players were not Warmachine fans; they were 40K haters.
Yeah, that's it. You made a good point on that one. It's just that when your game popularity is based around the fact of people hating another IP, it's like it's not sustainable.
Yeah, because I mean that's really it. Like, there was very few people who were playing 40K or playing Warmachine heavily who weren't like, yeah, I hate 40K.
Yeah, but here's some things with it too. I do think Warmachine had a very, very dedicated painter base. I think a lot of professional painters really enjoyed painting Warmachine over 40K or other games because Warmachine had a very, very unique style with a lot of flat surfaces that people really liked painting.
Yes, yeah, and they have there was a lot of smooth surfaces which you can show off blending on.
You could show off blending. You can do freehand on. The models really were designed for nice paint jobs, and I've painted a few of them. I enjoyed painting them, but yes, they did have that. So I think that's another thing that people liked. I also think that people really liked the tournament system. The game is designed as a tournament game.
Yes, yeah. The pairing, the way the like matchmaking worked, and the way the game was designed to be like a 2 out of 3. Yeah, that was all really good.
Yeah, and so they had a lot of good things going for them, but they bungled it bad with Mark III. So in 2022, they announced Mark IV. We talked about on this cast. They were talking about doing everything as 3D printed. And they are going to have magnets shipped with everything. They're going to kind of change the way that the game fundamentally worked. And you said that they did incredibly well with their sales.
Yeah, they did. The first print run sold out.
But I had no idea about any of the gameplay with Mark IV, so I didn't know how it worked really.
So from what I understand, it's good. Like, it's very good. But I mean, so the reason it works is because they essentially it's so funny. Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Wait, no, wait, maybe.
Riveting.
Yes. I hope everyone please. And I did sneeze directly away from my microphone, so hopefully that wasn't too loud. But anyway, but I sneezed out my train of thought for sure. Oh yeah, it's so funny. The changes they made literally turned Warmachine Hordes into a Steamforged game before it was a Steamforged game. So one of the reasons it's good is because the game was army wise was completely changed. So like it was no longer basically, without going into a very long and boring explanation, the super mega broken shit is gone.
Okay.
Like essentially it was like the biggest like what the game really desperately needed was a big balance change, and it was going to be a painful balance change no matter how they sliced it. So they just did a extreme extreme life support. Yeah. So like that the problem was is that the update wasn't like super well received after a while. It was like everyone anticipated, and then after they got it, they were just kind of like, eh. It's like, it's like the game's also like not. The problem is it's like there's like a self-sustaining or self-fulfilling prophecy. Is the game is not popular, and then it's also not popular because it's not popular. So like you can't get like I mean I hate to say it, but you cannot get new players in your game if you don't have YouTube views, and Warmachine has no YouTube views.
There, that's a good point. And I also think that Steamforge, this is something that on that as well that I think is that in the current market system with how games are distributed and played and promoted, there's a shift towards a almost big box model where I don't necessarily want my games to only be sold in a game store. I want my games to be sold in game stores. I want them in board game stores. I want them to be sold in Target. I want them to be sold on Amazon. So Steamforge does a really good job of packaging everything like it belongs in a Target or a Walmart.
Mhm.
And I think that would work better than how Warmachine was, which was a very old school model of like, we have blister packs, we have blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the Steamforge, unlike Privateer Press, kind of knows how the newer selling model looks and works. And I think that they can do a better job of promoting the game than Privateer Press could, which was kind of operating under a 2000s model as opposed to a 2024 model.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and then like, I mean, if anyone saw the picture of the Warmachine Privateer Press booth from the Las Vegas Open, like that story really will tell it all. Because that was like, because Mark IV was out at this point, it was available, but like their band, like they didn't have a Mark IV banner. Like the banner they had was like 3 years old. They were still like the first thing on the banner was still Monster Apocalypse. Yeah, I mean, like, and they only had like they had Mark III stuff for sale, like dead units, like units that were not getting rules in 4th edition. Like that was like a lot of the stuff they had at the booth for sale. So it was bad. I mean, so like the game was clearly on like a death spiral, and like everyone saw it was on a death spiral. So like, how are you going to get, I mean, nerds are like they're capricious and they all think they're savvy. So like they're going to look at it and they're going to go, well, this game clearly looks like it's dying, and then I'm not going to get into a game that clearly looks like it's dying. So they don't get into the game, and then the game is dead.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Yeah. So, but but the configuration, the way that they've set up, the way that they set up 4th, everything just like pointed better to like a more board game style boxed game that Steamforge excels in.
Yeah, and you're right. I do think that the idea of social media creating this kind of like parasocial like community around it is much more the way that things work in 2022.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and now especially like if you can't get on YouTube, like if your shit is not on YouTube, your game is not, like, you can't have like a brand game. That's what I call it, like a brand game being something like Warhammer 40K or Warmachine Hordes. That's like a brand / lifestyle game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can release your card game, your specific box game, whatever you want. You don't need to have crazy, like, God Tier is a good example. I mean, God Tier probably has a decent YouTube presence, but just say, for example, it doesn't. God Tier is the style of game I'm talking about, where like it doesn't matter if that game has a strong YouTube presence because it's made as like this is the game. Buy the starter box, maybe buy a few expansions. It's a board game. Like most people are going to treat that as a literal board game. It's also a minis game, but I'd say it's like a board game first.
Okay.
Because I mean, all the pieces are color coded. Like if you never paint one of those because you're not a minis gamer, it won't matter because every single faction is a different color. so it literally is made to be played right out of the box. Like you're never going to have that thing where like everything's gray and all the factions kind of look the same because they're all gray. And it's like, no, that doesn't happen in God tier, because it is like these guys are cyan, these guys are bright green, these guys are bright yellow. There's no mistaking them when they're.
Is there a teal faction?
Yes, actually. Yeah. So like that game doesn't need that, like you think, but that game's also not being sold as like something they're going to license out, be a brand growing IP kind of thing. Like Magic's the best example of like of a lifestyle brand right now. Like Magic has everything. Like Magic has become a game that like you now have people who play Magic who don't play Magic. It's like it's a weird. I'm not even kidding. Like it's like there's Magic players who are playing like just the Realms Beyond stuff. Like they just buy the Realms Beyond like commander decks and like that's what they play. Like it's like a whole different ecosystem now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Magic is like a prime example of late stage capitalism when you watch it, because you're like, oh, they have a really good model. They print money. And then you can see like, oh, now they want more money. Oh, this is devaluing their product. So they have to do more things to make more money because they've devalued the product. Oh no. Well, they're burning themselves out. They're doing My Little Pony Magic sets now. Oh no.
Well, you'd think that, except it's so extraordinarily successful. I guess we just have to say, oh yeah. We can't say, oh no.
Yes, it's successful, but like it's my whole thing is it's devaluing the brand by making the brand more out there. I think there's something to be said about having a brand be successful and still niche. Makes it much more effective as a brand. It's like there's something to be said of like, oh, you play Warhammer? What's Warhammer? Well, sit down and let me tell you. As opposed to everybody knows what Warhammer is, and people who know what Warhammer is think it's stupid.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that like it's successfully making the transition to be Fortnite, and every brand, game, anything, everything, all want to be Fortnite. Like that's just the way it is.
I mean, I agree with you. Everyone wants to be Fortnite. However, Fortnite has a shelf life. Fortnite will not be popular forever. Like
that doesn't matter. The longevity doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, that's just the problem with like what I'm saying is late stage capitalism. It's just these things are eating themselves. Like I need to burn and burn and burn so I can make my profits as fast as possible because it's not going to last. However, things can last, and they can last for a very, very long time and continue to make money off if you just treat them right. Like people will love them forever. And like I will never get my son into Warhammer. You know why? Because I don't want him to get into Warhammer. Warhammer will be around for a while, but I just don't need him to get into it and be into it as it is, because the brand is so poison right now. I can't help it. I'm addicted. The plastic is in my veins. But yeah, that's just what I'm saying. So getting back to the whole thing is that now Steamforge is going to be taking over the entire Iron Kingdoms line. We don't know what they're going to do with it. They haven't really announced any of that stuff, but it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch. We've said this since the release of 8th edition 40K, that 40K has, and that Warhammer has not really had a competitor in the gaming industry outside of Magic, but Magic is not really like a competitor. Magic is so far ahead on every level that it's like Warhammer is to Magic as Warmachines is to Warhammer right now, where it's like untouchable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't like it's not going anywhere.
No.
I mean the thing is too. Here's the like I'll throw this out there. Like the thing about the Universes Beyond stuff for Magic is, honestly, as someone who's been playing with it and like playing the commander decks, the thing is they fucking nailed it. Like they actually like I played the Doctor Who commander decks, and I don't like Doctor Who.
You do not like Doctor Who.
I'm not a Doctor Who fan.
You're a racist and a misogynist. You don't like Doctor Who.
All right. I don't get that one, but okay.
It's because you don't follow Doctor Who.
I see. All right. So so Yeah, so I'm playing Doctor Who, and like, holy shit, they nailed the flavor of it perfectly. Like it really like it had like it all the mechanics were like it was like time travel. The Dalek deck was about summoning an absolute fuck ton of Daleks. And like spawning them. There was the Cybermen deck was like their lady could like transform other creatures into Cybermen. Like they really nailed like the feel of Doctor Who for like all the characters and stuff. And like a person was playing with new Doctor Who more than I did, so like they had more insight in that regard. But yeah, so like it was just it worked really well. And from what it looked like, every one of them, like the 40k ones, all of the decks, like even though you're playing Magic, it feels very correct to the IP. So they are actually not just doing a cheap like reskin of existing cards for the most part, which is pretty cool. I thought it really seems like they like spent some time and effort into making the product instead of just like it doesn't feel like a cheap cash in.
No. All right. Well, I mean, hey, as long as it's a good game, I'll be excited for it. I had to learn a new game this week. I was playing Richard III, which is one of those like bookcase games.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new one it was released out on Kickstarter. It was a fun game, but fuck, learning new rules sucks.
Yeah, learning new rules always blows.
Oh, especially when they're like, there's something about bookcase games where it's like, why do the rules for bookcase games suck so badly? Like they don't even read like stereo instructions because you can understand stereo instructions.
Yeah, I've set up stereos.
Yeah, these things are fucking just like obnoxious in the way that the rules are lined up.
Yep.
Like they'd be like literally like, okay, there was a thing called step down, right? And like the rule book is only like 8 pages long. It's like a pamphlet. And I'm like, where's this step down? It's like mentioned at the very, very end for one of the phases. And I'm like, where the fuck is this? What the fuck does this mean? Why is no one referencing that? I had to bring up the PDF on my computer and search the term step down. And eventually I did find it in the rule book in a different place. But because it's a bookcase game, the print's all tiny, first off. And it's like, why can't board games or minis games or anything create a starter rule set where the rules are explained as you're playing the game?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, all right, so you're going to set up the game. Like I would set up the rules like this. You're going to set up this game. What you're going to do is you're going to put out all of your guys on the table, blah, 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 blah. You arrange it like that. Okay. So now you're going to move your guys. This is how you move your guys, right? Then it's like, you continue doing this until blah, blah, blah. Or once you get into combat. All right. Have you gotten into combat? Yes. Okay. Turn to this page. And this is how you do combat.
That's why the legacy games are so popular.
Like Risk?
No. Yeah. Like Risk Legacy and...
Okay. Yeah. Like I should have said Pandemic. That's a better legacy game.
Yeah, that one too. Pandemic Legacy, Risk Legacy, the Betrayal at House on the Hill Legacy, like all those legacy games. The reason that they're popular...
The Ticket to Ride Legacy. Toot, toot.
Toot.
I'm sorry.
He had to give back the Golden Train trophy. So no, and I think one of the reasons that those games are popular is because the rules start lighter than they normally do, because you follow the rules, and then there's rules omitted because you get those RNG rules that you add with stickers into the rule book.
Stickers.
So I think that does that feature what you were just talking about, where the game teaches you to play while you're playing, because a whole bunch of the rules don't exist when you start the game.
Yeah, I mean, that might be it. I just always it's just like, I fucking hate learning new rules. Why can't everything just be 6th edition fantasy, which is a game I pretend to know the rules for, but I don't know the rules at all.
I mean, it depends on the game, depends on the rules. I don't know. There's some games where they're just annoying. Like, I don't know, most of the games that have like, how many phases does your game have? That's my barrier. It's like, how many phases has this game got? Tell me give me the phase count, boss.
Hey, you're right there. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that's me. Like count how many phases it has, and that's going to determine whether or not I'm going to be able to deal with learning that game.
Oh God, yeah. But I mean, the Richard III game, once I kind of got the whole hang of it, was pretty fun. I mean, it's a historical game. There was nothing really to it. Yeah, it's fine.
That's why I like Alpha Strike, man. Like for the vast majority of Alpha Strike, it boils down to you're rolling 2d6 and looking at your card. That's the vast majority of that game. For it's like the literal antithesis of the classic BattleTech that has many rules.
BattleTech. Why?
Yeah, Alpha Strike is good stuff. You know why? It's BattleTech crawled so Alpha Strike could run. I just made some BattleTech nerds super mad by saying that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
He's
get rid of the
furious.
stupid.
He's gonna issue me a Bachal immediately.
All right, is that the game where everything looks like a Gundam?
Yes.
Do they all look like Gundams, Steve?
I actually wish they all looked like Gundams. They'd look cooler.
Do I get to use a thin pen while painting my models, my Gundams?
It's just a paintbrush that's shaped like a pen.
Do I get to use a thin pen to go into the lines and drop inks so that I can make the lines look darker?
You can.
Yay!
I think that would be really annoying to do on BattleTech figures, but you could.
You know what? You know what I think annoys me the most about Gundam, or like any mech thing, like with models and everything like that. The model kits are super cool. Everything looks great on them. They're not that expensive. And if you want to go to get like the super complicated ones, you can get them more expensive. Yet, and you could get the bigger, more expensive ones. But yet, they're still infinitely cheaper than 40K, which is horrible models to put together and paint.
It's true. I'll say building Gundams is fun.
Yeah, I have never had fun building a single Games Workshop plastic figure ever in the history of Games Workshop. There has never been a fun plastic kit to put together.
I've always hated building models too, like the GW ones.
It's like, yeah, it's like, and I dare our listeners to come up with a fun kit, a kit that was fun to put together for 40K or fantasy. It don't matter, or Lord of the Rings for that matter. None of them have been fun ever in the history of any of those games. Has there ever been a fun to put together plastic kit by Games Workshop or Citadel Miniatures?
The best I can offer is not as tedious. That's the best I can offer.
Yes, it's like, oh, this one was easy to put together.
Yes, easy to put together is the best I can offer, and those are my favorites. Like the single piece plastics from 5th edition. Oh man, those are the best. Just fucking clip them off, slap them on, maybe glue on a shield. Done.
Exactly. And they looked horrible. Like that was the thing.
I think they look charming. I like them.
Well, okay, they look charming, but they were definitely not good.
No, I mean, well, arguably they might be okay as one single guy. The problem is you got 30 guys who are all the same guy.
Yeah. It's like the Skaven, the plastic 5th edition Skaven on 20 mil bases that could not rank.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah. So there you go. It's like Gundam, fantastic to put together. From what I've been told, they really are. Gundams are really fun to put together.
They really are a blast. There's a couple kits that are very like the kits that are frustrating or annoying to put together are like you can count on one hand how many, and if you look at how many Gundam kits there are, like that ratio is really good. For the most part, it is very fun to put a Gundam together because you're building a little skeleton because the thing is you're building a model, yes, but like you're really building a toy.
Yeah, which
makes it more fun because like one of the first on some of the newer RG kits, the first thing you build is the internal skeleton. So you're building the architecture that lets the toy move. So the first thing you build is like a little wireframe guy, and you start clipping armor pieces onto it, and it slowly starts turning into a robot. And then when you're done, you have a robot fucking toy that moves and looks badass.
Yeah. I still want my robot toy that has the big robot, and then there's a little robot that goes inside, and then there's a little robot that goes inside, and then there's the little yellow guy that goes inside that final third robot.
There's probably a Diaclone that is like that.
Oh no, there was. I talked about it before on the podcast. Someone sent me a link of what it was, but I remember having that as a kid and thinking it was the coolest fucking thing I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, I mean that is awesome.
Yeah. Because it was a robot inside of a robot inside of a robot, and with the inside was a little yellow rubber guy.
Yes, very cool.
Yes, because it's Japan.
Yeah, I mean that checks out.
All right, so that's the big news. So I think we could find out more about all of this stuff once Gen Con hits. That's the next big thing. They'll probably make some announcements there. But yeah, they're transitioning all of the Warmachine stuff over to the Steamforge website. I don't know how any of it's gonna look. They're still saying they're gonna do Guild Ball and God Tier, which I'm not surprised. Which Souls game did Steamforge have? Did they have Dark Souls?
They did Dark Souls, yeah.
They did Dark Souls. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything about that in a while, so I don't know if they're still doing anything with that.
I think the license ran out. I don't think it's still in print.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, and I haven't heard anything about oh God, why can't I think of the name of the game? The Kickstarter, the one that made a bajillion, that ended up being worth $1 bajillion.
Oh, Kingdom Death?
Kingdom Death. I haven't heard anything about Kingdom Death in a while either.
Kingdom Death's still chugging along, as far as I know.
Yeah, I know they're still. I'm just surprised that they don't do more like. I guess it's because they have their own self-sustaining economy that they don't really need to advertise as much.
Yeah, I mean they're completely they exist in their own space. Like they're not it's not really like a game that's at game stores.
Yeah, it's like it's very self-sufficient.
Yeah, it doesn't exist in distribution. It's just kind of like its own, you know.
It's weird, ain't
thing.
that? Yeah, it's like a pocket dimension.
I mean, it is the definitive boutique miniatures game.
It really is, and I've tried painting some of those figures before. I did not like it.
Oh, they are very challenging.
To say challenging is an understatement. They're frustrating to paint, is what they are.
They are very, very, very tough.
Yeah, like I feel like I need a actual mini mic airbrush, like a micron airbrush, to do those figures correctly. And that's not saying it's weird to say, but it's not because of like their test figures or anything like that. It's just that the way the detail is sculpted on those figures is so nice. And it's like all the minis are fantastic. Don't get me wrong; those are great minis.
Super smooth.
But it's just like the level of transition and smoothness on them is so high that I want to do specific details that I can't do with a brush.
You really feel like you're letting the model down.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I'm constantly apologizing to the model as I'm painting it. I'm so sorry. Unlike Games Workshop models are like, you deserve it, you little bitch.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, you model. How much did you cost? You cost $45, and you're this hunk of plastic. Fuck you.
The model just flips you off.
Hey, buddy, fuck you.
Oh
yeah.
This model just flipped me off.
This model flipped me. I wanted to mention. I saw not Fury Road, Furiosa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the best Gorka Morka movie ever produced.
I do like Gorka Morka.
Yeah, if you just assume that all of the humans are orcs, it's really good. Like, and the funny thing is like the humans that are in the movie kind of act like orcs too.
Nice.
So I mean, like I'm literally watching, going like, man, if these were just like replaced by orcs, like through CGI or whatever, this movie would be the coolest fucking movie ever. Yeah, but I mean, it's a fun watch. I watched that, then I watched Fury Road, and I was like, damn, this is a fantastic like combo movie.
Nice.
There's a and like people are saying like this not as actiony as Fury Road, which is that's not saying anything. Fury Road is pure action. It's just like consistent, like the movie never stops.
Yeah, Fury Road begins and then the action doesn't stop until the credits show.
Yeah. And Furiosa, it's like there's some really good action sequences in the movie, but it does stop and lets the characters breathe for a while and lets them have their moments and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely some pretty great just some pretty great sequences with like hang gliders and everything else going on. I'm just like, fuck yeah. One of my big complaints is there's no doof. The doof doesn't really make an appearance until they're showing stuff for Fury Road. So, and everyone loves the doof.
Yes, everyone loves the doof.
So I give it a thumbs up. You should see it in the theater. I know it's like it did horribly at the theater, but it really is a movie that deserves to be seen on the big screen. We don't deserve George Miller as director. We really don't. The guy who directed Babe did Mad Max, and I will tell you that as he gets older, his movies just get better looking. I've never seen that in a director where it's like most directors are like get hacky as they get older and like don't want to like spend time creating these magnificent shots, he does that, and it's well worth it.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So do we have any actual other gaming news to talk about? I don't think we do, really.
No.
I mean, there might be here or there, but
actually, it's funnily enough, speaking of Magic, there was a new Magic set released or pre-releases this weekend, like as we speak. Modern Horizons 3. Very expensive Magic set that like nobody cares this is expensive. They are just like obliterating through it, and it's very, very, very cool.
Yeah, they're just they're eating it up.
Yeah, I mean I thought it was a little too pricey, but turns out I guess it's so Magic is weird because like when you're talking about older, this is it's focused on modern, so it's called Modern Horizons because modern is a format of Magic, and what modern is, it's like it's older cards, but it's only so old. So it doesn't go back to like the early 90s stuff. Like you can't use that stuff in modern. It's like a different like year bracket, a different tax bracket of banned cards essentially. So it's more accessible because it's not as old. You don't have to hunt down something like a Black Lotus. And also they can do sets like this, Modern Horizons 3. There's cards reprinted and new cards here which are designed specifically for the modern format, and then also for any other format where modern cards are legal. So the cards are much more powerful on average than a standard new Magic set. So when they announce the set and they announce the pricing, I look at them like, that seems really expensive, but I don't know the full breadth of what's in the set. And turns out what's in the set is gas. Like it's very, very good. Like the spoiler season was incredible. The reprints are great. The chase cards are great. It's actually like, it's one of the times where you look at it and you're like, oh, I guess it actually wasn't too expensive when you see the price, when you see the content. So pretty good. I recommend it. Yeah, if anyone's if you were a Commander player, Magic, I recommend Modern Horizons 3. It's got stuff for everyone in it.
All right. There are a couple Kickstarters I want to talk about. One is that John Blanche is finally getting some minis, being able to be a minis designer, not just an art designer. There's a Kickstarter that's coming out based on his design work. You can look it up. It's called Mordarin Kickstarter. It's fine. I'm not like I always kind of feel like Blanchitsu is more about paint than the actual like model itself.
Yes, I agree.
And there are a couple of games that already kind of like that quality to it. But I mean, the models are cool. There's some good female models, and you could do some cool stuff with them. But aside from that, it's like, okay. But yes, John Blanche finally is getting being able to sculpt his own minis. And there's another one out that I wanted to kind of talk about really quick. It's Port Royal. Have you seen this one?
I have not. No.
It's a pirate game. Arr.
Yar.
Do what you want because a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Yar, har,
fiddly-dee.
Do
Being a
what you
pirate
want.
is all right with me.
Do what you want because a
Because
pirate,
is free. You
are
are
a pirate. Oh man, we're going 20 years back on the internet.
It's a fantastic song. Super catchy.
It is. It is a very catchy track. Not gonna lie.
So this is actually done by the same guys who do what's it called? Fuck. It was Firelock Games, and I have to look it up real quick because now I can't remember because I'm having a brain fart. But they do the pirate game that's on the market right now.
7th
Blood and Plunder.
Oh, okay.
I know there's people yelling at me about that one.
I thought it was 7th Sea.
No, they do Blood and Plunder, and they also do Oak and Iron. So Blood and Plunder is like a 28mm pirate game with the boats and all of that stuff. So it's very pirate-centric. Oak and Iron is like their small boat game, so they're Battlefleet Gothic. And that's out there. A couple games are doing that, but their Blood and Plunder is like really the only true 28mm pirate game that's on the market. That's like a dedicated minis range with rule books and all of that stuff. So remember when we were talking about the cowboy games, how there's like 4 or 5 cowboy games out there right now? Mm-hmm. This is really the only pirate game. But now what they're doing is Port Royal is they are doing a Mordheim-esque skirmish game for pirates.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So when you do the Kickstarter, which they have like, you could do the digital version, which gives you the digital rule book. It gives you all the token PDF. It gives you the terrain building set for like, they'll send you the STLs. They'll give you a game mat. So they give you like everything digital. So if you just want to like,
Yeah, damn.
if you just want to like print out everything on your own, you can go ahead and do that. But for $64, they'll give you a physical copy of the rule book, physical copy of the tokens and ruler, and they give you punchboard terrain. So like old school Mordheim style terrain.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can you get all of that fun stuff. And it's not that expensive for $65. But you can also,
it sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, but like most stuff, you get the you have to spend how much? $79 gives you the mat. Okay, and you get dice, and you get access to everything digital as well. So that's probably the one you'll want to go with, the $80 version if you really wanted to play it. For $160, you get a neoprene mat.
Ooh.
The game's designed to be played on 2x2, which I know a lot of people like because that's nice and small.
Yeah, that's a play anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice little play anywhere. It's got some custom dice. There's fatigue dice, but they're kind of cool looking. I was thinking about getting into this. Probably not right now because I just don't have the time. I definitely have the skills and want to play it. I just don't know if I had to have the time to play it. I've heard good things about Blood and Plunder. I know it's very popular amongst non-historical players, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who generally like stuff like bolt action, which I guess I'd call popcorn historical games. I think that could be a good term for it.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Where it's not, you're not playing a historical game. You're playing a movie. You're playing a game based of a movie on a historical event.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So you're not playing World War II. You're playing
Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. Or The Longest Day, or one of those movies.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you're not playing Blood and Plunder. You're not playing The Age of Piracy. You're playing Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Well, which would be what I would be playing as I'm playing this fucking game.
Yeah. Were you there the night at the bunker where that song came on and I ran out of the back and like spun flip over every one of the stools in the bunker?
No, but I could see that happening.
Yeah, I read like everyone, and then when I was also doing the like I was singing along while I was doing it.
I really wish those movies weren't 4 hours long.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, everything's too long.
What's that?
Everything is too long.
Yeah. Well, that they've literally said that like part of the reason why the movies are dying in the theater is no one wants to go spend 3 hours at the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like give us a tight 90-minute cut of Pirates of the Caribbean, and I would be so fucking happy.
Actually, speaking of cuts and tight and pirates and everything, holy shit! Have you seen Godzilla -1?
Not yet. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
Holy shit, dude.
I've heard it's really fantastic.
Holy shit, dude. That movie's fucking great. Like, holy shit. I could not believe how good it was. I was like, I was shook. I was like, whoa. I was not expecting it.
Mick, who's in my D&D game, also a listener to the podcast, he's probably the biggest Godzilla freak I know. Like, he loves his kaiju. So I would love to watch it and sit down and talk with him. But he knows that, and I think the listeners know, I'm not a huge Godzilla fan. I'm not a giant monster fan. It's just never been a genre for me. I watched the old ones on like, the 70s and the 60s and 70s ones that are silly. And I've watched the original Godzilla and the Americanized Godzilla as well. And I like
the Matthew Broderick classic.
Oh no! I'm talking the one with Perry Mason. Where he's all sweaty.
yes.
They switch back to him and he's just all sweaty.
This is pouring sweat.
Yeah, where they cut out all of the stuff that's like, that's negative about America and nuclear testing.
Yes.
That stuff. It's critical of America and nuclear testing.
Yes.
And they really re-released it as a monster movie, which is fine, but I do like the original Japanese cut. I used to show it in class when I was teaching about nuclear age fears, and the kids loved it. It was great. It was subtitled, which wasn't great. Kids don't like subtitles. That's a very millennial thing.
かわいそう。日本語を、勉強してください。That's what I think.
There you go. I prefer a dub. I'm just gonna be honest. I like a dub better than I like a subtitle.
Depends on the dub. Depends on the casting. There's a lot of factors. Like I've seen I've seen great dubs and I've seen fucking awful dubs.
Yes. Most dubs that I have seen have been good dubs, but the movies that I've seen that have been dubbed are good movies. So like usually a good movie will have a good dub.
Like Ghibli dubs are always good. Like like Disney doesn't fuck around with that. So
no, all the Ghibli dubs are fantastic. I'm talking like French movies too.
Oh right, okay.
Like remember I watch European cinema.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only watch Kino.
You know what country does horrible dubs?
Italy?
Yes. Fucking Italian dubs are the worst.
Yeah. Italian dubs are terrible. They all do like the worst ADR known to man. It's great.
I know the exact reasons why all the dubs are bad. It's just that it drives me up the wall how bad the dubs are. And the reason is because so when Italian films are filming, they don't film the dialogue and they don't record the dialogue that's being spoken.
It's all ADR. It's terrible.
Yeah, so they just tell the person, say your lines in whatever language you're speaking. So you'll have an American and a Bulgarian and an Italian in a room together talking, and then you watch the dubs, and then sometimes the dub matches the mouth of the American, of the English speaker, and you're like, fuck, don't do that because it throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they were speaking Italian and you heard English, it would make more sense than seeing an English speaker getting dubbed and then seeing an Italian speaker speaking Italian and then getting dubbed in English. Because you're like, I can't handle this. My brain is melting.
Yes.
I hate Italian dubs.
They are the worst.
French dubs are usually okay. I've never had a problem with a French dub.
Yeah, French dubs are fine.
Like even the bad French movies that I've seen that are dubbed, like Hot Tension or
I love Hot Tension.
or Brotherhood of the Wolf. Like those dubs they're not great, but they're fun to watch.
I've never seen Brotherhood of the Wolf. Is it good?
It's fantastic. I love it. It's one of my favorite French movies of all time.
All right, I should watch it.
It's like a weird kind of like alternate history, but it's crazy kung fu. It was during that wushu period.
Oh, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in it, but there's a monster movie element to it as well.
Everybody wanted to Crouch Day Tiger and Hidden Day Dragon.
Yeah, and then you got these you got like the main character who you want to, you're rooting for, but he's having an affair with the girl that's supposed to be like the leading lady, an affair with Monica Bellucci while he's supposed to be in love with this other lady. And you're kind of like, well, he's kind of a cad then, but you're like, he's French, whatever.
The French card.
What's that?
Plays the French card.
He plays the French card. So you're like, okay, it makes sense for him being French. And of course, Vincent Cassel shows up and there's horrible CGI, like bone whip. And it's just like that's all I can say is a bone whip. So it's bad. It looks like video game-ish, but it's so fun and I love it. There's not a single, I've watched that movie like 4 or 5 times and I love it.
All right.
It's just, you have to, for me, I watch it with the dub. With the dub, it makes it more fun, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know. You know what I need to have dubbed? Scottish movies. You ever watched a movie from Scotland?
No.
Near impossible to listen to.
I've never watched a movie from Scotland.
Yeah.
At least I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
You would know because you wouldn't be able to understand a single thing that they're saying.
I watch a lot of movies with subtitles, so I'm a subtitles guy. So
yeah,
I watch everything with subtitles on. So
Furiosa could have used a subtitle. I think it was actually pretty well done. I understood most of the people, but the true Australians in that movie, like the people really talking with their Australian accent, I was like, I can't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I only I'm just a big fan of having subtitles on because it avoids the number one thing for me where I'm like, I mishear something and I'm like, what the fuck did that person say? And then I have to rewind it because I heard it, I know what they said, but I'm like, I'm like, is that what they said? And then I have to confirm it, and it annoys the shit out of me because it's just like it just like triggers my like itis, and I'm like, fuck, I have to stop. I have to confirm, and so
Yeah.
like I rewind it and like make sure that like what I heard is what I heard.
Yeah. Like in Mad Max and in Furiosa, they'd be like, I got the dog on the back. And you'd be like, what did they say? Did he say they just need a dog on the bike? And they'll be like, no, that's not what they said. And then you'd go back and watch the subtitles and it'll say, I need a dog on the bike. And you're like, well, this doesn't help at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like that's how I am. So I'm always watching stuff with subtitles on, so I can avoid doing that to myself because it's really annoying.
All right. Well, that's all the gaming stuff that I had, and entertainment news for you to swallow.
Gaming and entertainment.
Talking about Brotherhood of the Wolf, a movie that came out 20 years ago.
Entertainment.
My son was like tired in the car, and we're going to the retirement party yesterday, and I was like, do you want to listen to some music that's going to psych you up for the party? And he's like, yeah. So I put on Andrew WK Party Hard. And he was like, this is the greatest song ever written.
Nice. Let's get a party going. Let's get a party going. When it's
Exactly.
time to party, we will always party hard. Yeah, there needs to be more party rock.
Yeah, like party anthems. Like, how come there aren't more party anthems?
Yeah,
Like rock party anthems.
And
not
Andrew WK, we need you now more than ever.
Exactly. Actually, he dropped a new album not too long ago, and it was actually pretty good from what I hear.
Oh, nice.
But it's not like I don't want like Black Eyed Peas. Like I don't want like tonight's gonna be. I know. I want like when it's time to party, we will party hard.
Yes, hell yeah.
Or like Beastie Boys, like that. Once the Beastie Boys kind of went away in the 2000s, R.I.P. But we lost in the 90s.
Did they all die?
No, one of them died.
Oh, okay.
That we kind of lost a lot of the love of partying that the Beastie Boys brought up, like, and not like partying is like we're gonna kick a hole in the wall, like that's Andrew WK type partying. Beastie Boys are more like we're gonna order extra mozzarella sticks style.
Yes.
which I'm totally cool with. I'm like
2 orders of sauce.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight for my right to party and eat this queso dip.
Dads in sandals party rock.
Exactly, dads in sandals party rock. Yeah, like Andrew WK is I'm gonna drink this Monster Energy drink and accidentally kick a hole in the wall and then have my friend get really mad at me because now they have to explain to the parents why the hole's kicked in the wall.
Yeah, that's my style. That's my style.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm the guy who jumps off the roof and lands on someone on a table.
Yeah, that's Andrew WK for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all in good fun.
That's me. Yeah, it is. It's all in good fun. We have fun here.
All right, so you can go to the Game Classy Facebook page. It's the best way to get the link to the Game Classy Discord where we actually talk to people. We show our models off. We talk about new games. People bitch about us on the cast. I do think the best comment is Joe talking about Trench Crusade and not knowing anything about the game is peak Game Classy. And that's 100% correct.
Yeah.
I still can't put together the timeline for Trench Crusade. It's like the timeline for Trench Crusade is trying to read the timeline for BattleTech.
Yeah, or Dune.
Or Dune. Yeah, Dune's a good one too. Yeah, we're just like, what? How? What? When did this start? And you're like, okay, the game started in 2014. 2014? What?
Yes.
There were players that weren't even born in 2014. Yeah. So get a link to the Discord. The best way to help out the podcast, like, comment, subscribe on iTunes, or you could like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes, which we're also on there. We're also on Spotify now, so we should be raking in those sweet 0.0000 cents anytime now.
Yes.
So you can listen to us there. If there's another platform I need to get us on, let me know. I'll try my best to get it. I think I put them on most of the platforms, but who knows? Because there's like a button you press and it puts you on a different platform, but you can request to put another. I don't. It's a thing. That's a thing I don't want to get into. I'm 42. I don't want to get into more things.
Hey, what was the movie where Woody Allen got frozen and sent to the future?
Sleeper.
Very good. Thank you.
We're not allowed to talk about Woody Allen movies anymore. Don't you know that?
Was Kasuni's retainer fell out of his pants that one time?
Oh no, he got accused of a lot of crazy stuff.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I don't keep up with anything. So
No, I do not like Woody Allen as a person. I don't like Woody Allen as a. Yeah,
but he was in the movie Ants, and I liked. I'm not gonna lie, I liked the movie Ants.
you can't argue if a movie is good. Like this is what I always tell people. It's like you can't argue if a movie is good or not. Like a movie can be good. You can not like a movie because you don't like Woody Allen. That's fine.
Yeah, it's true.
But you can't argue that Sleeper is not a funny movie that's well directed, and well done.
Mhm.
So that's something to just keep in mind about that there. And that, like, I have a hard time divorcing myself from people, but you know what? I don't like Tom Cruise, but the newest Mission Impossible movie, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
That man knows how to make a movie.
Yeah, I mean, and he does all his own stunts. It's fucking crazy.
It's my daughter, of course, 13 years old. We're watching Mission Impossible, and I'm just constantly leaning over to her going, "That's how you make a fucking movie."
You're
pointing at the screen.
I'll say you're doing the Leonardo DiCaprio thing where you crack open the beer and you're pointing at the screen.
Yes, I do that a lot. I go, see this? How they shot this here? This is how you make a fucking movie. Look at this. Look at the buildup in the plot. They set it up in the first act, Penny. They set it up in the first act.
That's terrific.
Yeah. But anywho, if you want to see more of my stuff, you can go to my Instagram page. I'm posting currently models from the board game Gore Chosen, which came out like 10 years ago. And I'm finally deciding to paint because I really like the minis. It's a fantastic game too. People really, no one will argue that Gore Chosen isn't one of the best big box games. I don't know, big box store box games out there. And it's been long out of print, so of course it's it's highly collectible.
Highly collectible, like anything Lord of the Rings. It's all highly collectible.
Yes. We one day we really should, maybe next cast, I don't know. I have a feeling that, remember how we were talking about the death of Lord of the Rings because of how Asmodee.
Oh yeah, we're not sure what's going to happen with Lord of the Rings minis. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not sure what's going to happen because now they're because if Ares Games is bought out by them, and then Ares Games gets settled with all of that debt and fails and collapses, they can't do anything with the Lord of the Rings minis license then. So it's interesting.
I have no idea. Yeah, because so maybe, I mean, that possibly means that they're just going to keep going with Games Workshop, I guess. I don't know.
Yes. Well, what it actually means is that they're going to wait for their game division to fail. Asmodee will fall apart and collapse, and then because of the debt, and then they will be able to sell off all their assets to another company for a less price, and they will have no debt on that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, like it's all win-win for them, no matter what happens, really.
Yes, but it's all loss for the consumers, which is welcome to 2024.
Hey, look, your Windows automatically stole all of your information, and hackers figured out a way to take it from you, and that's just the feature of Windows 11. So sorry.
Yeah,
did you hear about that? That's an actual thing. Like, in case anyone doesn't know this, Windows 11 has a non-opt-out AI thing built in, and hackers immediately figured out a way to rip it. So they were able to deploy and just like steal 100% of the information from like, I don't know, like millions of people's computers from Windows 11, because it was essentially just ripping your data without your knowledge or consent since the 11 update. And the best part is because 11 was a stealth update for a lot of people overnight because they didn't realize. It's been it's a thing. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yep. Have fun with that. They'll be looking at mine and going, "This guy looks at so much porn." So there's such diversity too.
A lot of Klingons.
A lot of
you gotta get that Klingon.
Gotta get the Duras sisters.
That's right, Duras. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that's how we learned that Michael Dorn was going to show up as? That's how we learned Michael Dorn showed up at the Star Trek convention. Was what's his name? What's her name? His lady, Alexander's mom.
Oh, Susie Plaxton.
Yes. So she's talking on stage, and she's saying, yes, and this was right after I was killed by, she's like, oh, I feel so bad. I can't remember who. She's like, who killed me? I mean, we just heard this ridiculous booming voice from like the corner in the room just go, Duros. We look over and it's Michael Dorn.
It's Michael Dorn.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
So I was watching when I was watching First Contact, and I'm watching with a guy who's never seen First Contact, and I was like, oh, this is the part where Worf shows up, and he goes, how do you know that? I go, because they're playing the Star Trek 3 Klingon music.
That's right.
And anytime you have that music, a Klingon is gonna show up.
That's right.
And there's only one Klingon in this movie, and that's Worf. Oh, they treat Worf so poorly in that movie too.
They do.
Like literally, Riker just fucking makes fun of Worf nonstop in that movie.
He's just breaking his balls left and right.
I know, he's just really breaking Worf's balls.
Yeah, he's breaking Worf's ball. But I mean, that's how I read that though. Like, I don't read that as Riker actually being a dick. I read that as like Riker being like legit busting Worf's chops, like breaking his balls about it.
You know what? I think that's how it's supposed to come across. However, in watching First Contact right now, I think he's just being a dick. He's like being Billy Bats to Joe Pesci's character in Goodfellas. He's like, I'm just breaking your balls. I'm just breaking your balls. And then Worf fucking beats the shit out of him.
Well, maybe it's different because he's a Klingon,
It's like, it's like, and then fucking Riker turns around. He's like, go get your fucking shine box. Towards like, that's it, motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. And then Picard like is a complete and utter dick to him at the end of the movie. Oh my god. Says, I was like, fuck, Worf. This is because he went to DS9, right?
Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh god. Anyway, if you want to see more of Steve's stuff, you can go to his Blue Sky account at Command Throw.
Yeah, that's me. Hello.
And so Steve, until next time.
They compressed me, Coop. 8 kilobytes of digital noise. I'm something called a JPEG.
Bye.
Bye.
Game Classy.